Oh hey guys, it's 216 Papa Bravo here. Just read my favorite reloading book. This happens to be the Hornaday Handbook of Reloading. I'm going to load up some 9mm today, and I wanted to kind of show you how I did the pistol, because it's a little different than doing the precision rifle that I did before. So what I've done is I've got everything set up I need to have. I've got my reloading book, so I know what the load we're going to go with. I've got my carbide die set for 9mm, and I'll explain that in a second. I've got my caliper, I measure the distance, my unique powder, small pistol primers by CCI, and of course some Hornaday 124 grain HAPs, Hornaday hollow point, whatever they call them, and my bag ready to go. So I have all the materials for this load I'm going to do, and I want to talk about a little bit about pistol reloading, because it's quite different than the precision rifle reloading I did. The precision stuff I did earlier on my reloading videos talked mostly about being a precise load with a precise bullet, trying to get accurate loads. Now for me, pistol shooting, I am a plinker, and I'll admit it, I'm a plinker. I plank, shoot away. But the other side of it, I enjoy reloading the shells when I get done with that. So here we go. And I don't need precision. I need just as close as I can get, but it doesn't need to be precision. So anyway, we're going to start with the RCBS die set, the 9mm die set. It comes with 3 dies. I'll go over that in a second. It has a Resizer decapper, which is what this die is. It has a decapping pin, okay, and it also resizes the casing. It has a beller, which it actually bells the rim of the case so you can insert the bullet easier. And then it comes with a bullet seater, which actually seats the finished bullet. And this is a carbide set, so you don't need to, with straight-walled cases. This is called a straight wall case, has no neck down or anything like that. This applies to most pistol ammunition and some rifle like .30 carbine, that style, but mostly pistol. It allows you to do the 3 stages without having to use any lubricant. So we're going to start with our Resizer die, decapper. We're going to screw that in, and I've already got these set, but I'll show you how to do these. It's exactly the same as the others. Get my shell holder in there. What you do with the Resizer, you run this all the way down, so your ram is all the way up, and you're going to screw this down until it barely touches the shell holder, just like that. So it barely touches it. And that's enough to resize the entire case and decap the case. And what you're going to do is you're going to get that to where it's set correctly, and you're going to lock this ring down. Okay? So when we start with a empty case, get that out of the way, move this stuff back. And I do these in bulk, so I have actually 2 containers. Again, we're working in a method where the same as I do with the blocks, however I'm doing bulk, so I'm going to take from this one, resize, and then put it in here. So what I'm going to do is insert my case, deprime and resize at the same time. So now I have a deprimed, resized case. Now I'm going to go through the whole box here rather than doing it at 50 at a time, whatever. I'm going to do the entire section at one time. All this one step. And I'll go through the whole process doing this, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, that's the last one of those. So, step one, and I've done the entire setup here where I've done the entire little bucket of 9mm that I had. And I don't know, maybe 100, 150. It's whatever I had loose, but I've already polished them and got them all ready to go. Anyway, those are all done. So now I'm going to go through the process again, and I'm going to change the die set. To our belling die. It actually bells the rim out just a little bit to accept the bullet. And to explain that again, you take a bullet and try to do it in an unprimed. Okay, let me get an unprimed one here. And it's just very, very tight. It's just really hard to get in that. And what it allows you to do when you seat the bullet, it allows it to go in much easier than you're doing it otherwise. So that's the reason we have the second step. So here we go. Now we got your size cases. Just run it down again, and again I'm going to do the whole step, the whole process of doing that belling. Okay, for the entire bucket, so till we get done. So here we go. Again, you see it's a real simple step. And here's the last one. Alrighty. Okay, so now if you look at all these, they're going to be all not the same. See, got a couple here. You're going to see that they're all deprimed, resized. That's my second step. Now they're ready for primers and ready to have the powder added to it. And then we're going to put it back in for the cedar die, and we're going to seat the bullets. Okay, now I'm ready for primers, and I'm going to use my priming tool. This is the RCBS hand priming tool. It allows you to put your primers in a tray. Okay, it has little ridges inside it, so it turns them all one way. We're going to stick this in here with primers, and they slide down into the hole, and you have a rod that comes up and actually pushes the primer into the case, the bottom of the case here. Okay. That's all set to go. I'm going to take our tray, priming tray. That lid comes right off. Take our primers. You see they come in a package of 100. I've already used some of these, so we'll have to get another one. But the best way to do this is to leave it this way. Put the tray right on top of it, and simply flip it over. They come right out. And a couple little shakes, and we'll have them all go in the same direction. See there? See, they're all primer up. You can see all that. Perfect. Put the lid back on so it don't spill everywhere. Now this lid does have a stop gate on it right here, so that you can stop the flow so they won't fall out. Okay? Then when you're ready to go, just turn that a little bit, and it opens it up, and you can see the passageway. Okay, what you do is you slide one down the hole, and it'll go into the primer pocket. Put your casing right in there, squeeze until it seats, and voila, you have a primed case. See, it's nice and neat. I'll show you that a little better. You can see the new primed case. Okay. Again, I'm working my same process from left to right so I don't confuse where I'm at. I can stop at any time and know where I stopped at. And doing this bulk method, I don't have to worry about, you know, where the process is or anything. I can stop at any time. Like if I was to stop right now, I know that this part's done and this whole bunch is not done, and I have my primers ready to go. so I can like take a phone call, or I can get interrupted, or whatever the case may be, to make all that happen. So I'll get through all these and we'll get you done. Okay, so here's my last one done. All right. So we had some primers left over. We'll take care of that later. Just all you're gonna do is you're gonna put them back in the box. They'll fall right in these little holes back in the slots. So don't worry about having extras. It's okay. You don't have to use exactly the 50 or exactly the 100 or whatever it is. You can take care of that. I'll do that later, so we don't have to worry about that. And again, we're going to end up with I have about 140 or so in here. So I've got the primed cases ready to go. Now we're going to go back and switch again, so I know where I'm at. I'm going to take my, now I do need the shell holder off of this, so I'm going to take this apart again. Be sure to leave this squeeze or the whole thing's going to come apart, so that's why I do it this way. Get that rod out, and this pops right out. Okay, I got to get the rod out, sorry. Third piece, then it pops right out. Shell holder off, goes back in the press. I'm going to put this back together without a shell holder in it, so I'm ready for next time. And that's done. Okay, so we're ready done with that one. Like I say, I'll take care of the leftover primers in a minute after we're all done here. Part of my cleanup process. Okay, now we're done with this die. Now the cedar die is a little different on these than the rifle dies. With a pistol die set, you're going to first of all screw this in here. Again, I have my completed cartridge. It'll load up my powder measure here. So it throws 4 grains for a 9mm. It's all either unique. And just so you know, I do have a little baffle. I did get a stand here also. I got a nice sturdy stand, so I didn't have it hooked to my bench anymore. This is much more sturdy than the other one was. And I built my own little baffle in here, if you can see that. Just a little piece of wire, cut a little baffle like that. And it just sits down inside the powder measure, so you have constant flow, constant weight on your powder. So you don't have any issues with over powdering or overpressuring, and it gives you real consistent throws. And again, this is for plinking. It's not for serious, want to be accurate rifle shots. I want to be accurate pistol shots. This is more, again, for me, for plinking. So it's really, really generalized the way I do it here. So we're going to take the unique powder. Just pour some in here. Have a goodly amount. More than I need, but that's okay. We can always get it out. Temporarily get this out of the way here. And bring over my scale. This is our CBS, I think it's a 1010 or 505 scale, excuse me. Make sure it balances okay, which it does. Okay. Perfect. And we're going to see how heavy our throw is here for the first one. Probably overshot it, but we'll give it a quick look. We want 4 grains, like I said. So we're going to set this on 0, the big one on 0. The next scale is your actually tens of grains, and then tenths of grains. So if you have like 4.2 or 4.1, you'd have 0, 4, and then 0.1 would be one little click over for that little guy. So I need 4 exactly. Way too heavy. Let me double check my book. Unique 4.0 for this will get us at 900 feet per second. So we're a little heavy, so I'm going to screw this in a little bit. Give another throw. It isn't very much powder. It doesn't take very much to do this. It's a little heavy. Screw that in a little bit more. You see how little powder that is? I don't know if you can catch that, but that's a very little amount of powder for 4 grains. Not very much. Okay, just a touch heavy. Tighten that down. And we're going to do a couple throws just to get it, make sure it's throwing the right amount. And we're going to measure the next one. That way you know what the thing is actually throwing. We're right on the money, 4 grains, perfect. So now we know what we're throwing. Okay, we're going to take our resized, belled, and primed case. Take a little funnel here because we don't need that. Put back in there. We're going to throw that right in the cartridge. Okay, so now we have everything set up here. As far as what we're throwing, we're going to check about every 5th or 6th round, maybe 10, depends on how accurate it is. If it stays accurate, we're not going to touch it. It's always good to go. We're going to take our case that's been prepared with powder now, and we're going to put it in here. Now they recommend that you, with your cedar die, you're going to take a prime size bullet, or casing, excuse me, run it up into the die, and you're going to screw this down until it contacts the edge of the case, which is right about there. Okay, so you know that when the die has come down, it's going to constrict the top of that case just right. Now you're going to see the bullet. This is part of our adjusting process. So we're going to lock down the ring, and we're going to adjust now this center part, which is actually your bullet cedar part. That's how you push the bullet into the cartridge. I'll open one of those. Okay, so here we go. See how it fits nice and snug on top of there? Looks great. This is where your caliper comes in. We need an overall length of, get the information here, cartridge overall length of 1.06. So we're going to push this shell in, this bullet in. Okay, not bad looking. Now we're going to measure it on our caliper. This happens to be a digital caliper. I'm at 1.06. We're 105.6, 105.5, so we're really close. We'll back that off a little bit and lock her down. And we're going to measure our circumference around the cartridge at the neck. Should be 0.38, and we're 0.378, which is perfect. It means we're crimped properly, which means that that cartridge now, fully loaded, size, will feed in our weapon properly. Get ourselves set up again over here. Now, doing the bulk process, what I do is I take the resized one. I'm going to do bulk again from one side to the other. So I'm going to charge it, slide it right into my cedar die, place the bullet right on top, run the handle down. You don't have to be fast with this either. You can just take your time, just slight amount of pressure, push it in, and you can see you get a little bulging where the actual bullet goes in because the resize is pretty slight, but it's really a good looking bullet. You can see that right there. Okay, and that's the way you set up your reloading. Now I had this kind of preset so I know where everything was, but when you first get the die, you have to do a couple of steps. You have to push this down till it contacts it, lock the ring, then put the bullet cedar in and seat the bullet till it's the correct length, then back this out. Then what you want to do is you want to turn this ring off so you can screw the die down further until you get the proper crimp, and then when you get that all set up and the bullet's the proper length, let me use one that's already done here. Whoops. when you have this already pushed up in here, you're going to screw this part down until it touches the bullet once this is properly seated. Okay, when that touches the bullet, you're done. Lock it down, lock this down, you're ready to rock. And you can go through as many rounds as you want, as fast as you want, to get this process done. Okay. Try to get it as straight as possible. You don't have any problems with it going in. Just run it up into the die. Just slight amount of pressure to seat the bullet. And that's another one. Okay, right to the powder. Press, bullet, and run it up. And that's how it is to make a whole series. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish this box out. So I'm going to end up with all these reloaded, and you'll see that it doesn't take very long. I mean, I'll probably be at this, if I wasn't talking, it'd be a lot faster, but I could probably do this whole process, the 4 steps involved: the resizing with the first die, the belling with the second die, the primer insertion, and then this step, the last step, is actually the bullets, powder and bullet seating. For about 100 rounds, it probably takes me an hour. If you have the time to do it, this is a great way to go about doing it. Again, this press, because it's so utilitarian, you can use for rifle, pistol, just about everything except for shotgun. And it's a great press for slower, more methodical reloading. Now, if you're shooting thousands of these and you want to reload these by the thousands, I would suggest getting a turret press, some sort of turret press that allows you to load one empty cartridge, put a bullet in, pull the handle, one bullet's made every time you pull the handle. With this setup, it takes 3 pulls and a primer punch. That's 4 times you have to handle the shell every time you want to make a bullet. So it's 4 times for this one. It's 1 pull for the turret type press, but they are more expensive. This press runs about $300 for the setup, for the press, the powder measure, the scale, 1 block, and there's some others. You get one reloading book. Usually, I think it's a spear book you get with this one, with the kit. Now, you could probably buy the press by itself for around $200, but the kit's a little cheaper. You save about $20–30. They're about $300 anyway. The set of dies, per set of dies for a 3 die set, it's going to run you about $50. Depends on where you get them, of course. They're between $35 and $50, depends on where you get them. But you do need 1 set of dies for every caliber you load. And if you can see over here, I have a lot of calibers I load. These are little food storage buckets I bought at their local grocery store. They're like 3 or 4 for $4 or something, $3. They're great for what this is for. They make great storage tools to put this in. Just label them. Okay, just label it so you can know what's in there. And I have a lot of different calibers, so that's why I stuck with this press. It's just easier for me to not have 3 or 4 presses set up. I can still take 2 things off and have my workbench workable, rather than trying to have a whole workbench dedicated to nothing but reloading. It's pretty much set up now for reloading, but I can use it by removing 4 bullets. I can use it for anything else if I want to not reload at the time. So that's why this is set up like this. So let me take a break and give you a break anyway. I'll go ahead and finish reloading these shells, and we'll get going. Okay. Oops, powder. Are you talking again? There you go. Alright, there's the last one, finally. Now, as I said, I could have stopped anywhere in this process because I'm doing one at a time, so I'm not having to worry about loading a whole brick of these, having them with powder, and then trying to put a bullet on it, and then trying to run it through here. So I could have stopped any time to, fix the camera or answer the phone call or whatever and not be disturbed. I have a good stopping point. I can always stop right here. Okay, that's how we do it. So for a single stage press like this one, it takes, like I said, 3 pulls of this and one of the primer tool. So again, I handle these shells 4 times, which if you have the time, it's fine. If you don't have the time, I would really recommend getting a turret type press. Dylan makes a great one. They're like $500. They're between 4 and 5. It depends on what you get, of course. But that's per cartridge. Each cartridge base, different setup is going to, I think it's 100 and, I'm guessing now because I saw it on the internet and I forgot already, it's like $100 and some dollars, $120 just for another caliber. And it's really designed for straight wall cases because they're much easier to do. You can get a rotary one in the RCBS that will do rifle. If you're doing it for precision, I would not recommend doing it that way, but you can. Again, if you're doing a lot of pistol, the rotary type with the that has all the dies and everything set up in one thing, including the powder measure, that's the way to go. But if you're doing a small amount of shells and you have time to do all of them at once, like I do, you know, this process, then you're ready to rock. Just thought I'd run an update by you guys so like you can see how I do the pistols. I know we talked about the price of all this stuff. You know, if you have the press already and you want to get into pistol reloading, all it's going to cost you basic to get started is a set of dies and your different powder, because you usually can't run rifle powder and pistol ammo. You need a hotter load, and then you're down to your basics of primer, powder, bullet. Which for 9mm I can do 100 rounds. The bullets alone are probably anywhere from $17 to $25 a 100. The primers are $350, $349 a 100, and you're going to use less than 10 ounce, less than 3 ounces of powder for that many cartridges to load them out of a $25 bottle of powder. If you get one of these 1 pound jobs. So the powder is actually one of the least costly things that you're going to load with in the pistol, because it doesn't take very much to get there. You know, this load is only 4 grains. You know, 4 grains out of a 7,000 grain pound. You know, it goes a long way. So so you can load a box of 100 for around 20. Let's see, 20. I'd say 29, 30, 32 bucks, something like that. 30 bucks for 100 rounds of 9mm. Gets more cost effective as you go up, and if you're loading something like 45 long Colts, which I have here, which is the traditional cowboy round, you can see how much bigger that is, but it doesn't really take that much more. Here's the 9, here's the 45 long Colt. I'll give you an example. Kind of see the difference in size there. Kind of get that in there, okay. Even though this is 4 grains, to load this with the lightest load, the 45 is 6 to 8 grains of powder, so you're not really talking a whole lot more. And this stuff, to buy at retail, oh my gosh, very expensive. The bullets are a little more, of course, the raw bullets are more and use a little more powder. The primers are the same cost, but to buy a box of these retail, I just looked it up. For 45 long Colt, a box of 50. The cheapest I saw was around, I want to say $35 to $37 for a 50. And I can load 100 for that same price. 100 for the same price I bought for the 1 box of the brass. The fully loaded stuff, commercial stuff. And that it gets higher, but that's just an example. The basic reloading stuff is much cheaper. Again, it's going to cost you about half as much to buy, but you're going to spend the same amount of money that you have budgeted for the regular bullets to shoot twice as much. Does that make sense? You're going to spend the same amount of dollars. You're not really saving anything because you're going to shoot more when you reload because you have more available. You know, as long as you have your brass and stuff. That's only the caveat I'll say. If you have to buy the brass, or you know, if you have once fired brass, great, that'll work fine. But if you already have the brass and you have the die set, it's much cheaper to load, but you are going to spend the same amount of money to shoot more than if you bought retail ammo. All it takes is a little more time on your part, dedication to actually stick with the program and get it done. Had fun doing this for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, you know, right down there is a place to comment. But if you want to have a bulk ammo like that, and you want to do it the right way, here's how to do it. If you like what I do, go ahead and subscribe up above. I sure appreciate it, guys. Be safe out there. Papa Bravo out. Oh my God, who's going to clean up this mess? Oh, that'd be me.